Let's go.
Yes.
Yes. Cricket is good,
Is it?
except for today when it's bad.
And doesn't happen and it takes away all your fucking fantasy subs.
It takes away your sleep when a game between England and Ireland taking place in Australia starts at 5 a.m. when you could have it start.
I mean, that's your problem. You're waking up to watch it.
I didn't wake up to watch it. I mean, I had to wake up because puppy dog.
Yeah.
But that was at about 6:30.
Well, that's
So I
not
saw the end of Ireland's innings, the last kind of 6, 7 overs, and then all of England's. So that was a treat.
honestly,
So yeah,
the first I heard of it was seeing a message from you lamenting about your triple captaining of Joss going badly.
went very badly. And it's all the games for him to get a duck. But yeah, bit going on in the T20 World Cup. Welcome back to our not daily videos, our frequent England videos, which we'll be recording still, even when we get knocked out probably on Friday. Um, oh, it was going so well.
Was
Um,
it?
I mean, yeah, Australia lost badly, and that was funny. And then England won. They did kind of crawl over the line against Afghanistan, as we said. Um, and then it looked like maybe Sri Lanka might cause an upset for Australia yesterday, but then Marcus Stoinis came in and stole the gun, and then we've had today. So I guess we should talk about it. Um, where do you want to start? You've just watched all the highlights because you didn't get up at 5
Sure.
a.m. Where would you like to start?
If we start from the start, like
Okay.
Stokes opening the bowling again, of
Yeah,
what I
did all right.
saw, yeah, did good. I like it. I
Yeah.
like the idea of we need a wicket. Stokes is the one we always go to get a wicket. We need wickets straight away in T20. Let's bowl Stokes. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And it,
Especially on that pitch as well, because it does a bit. And he was nibbling it away. Um, Gets natural movement, the kind of bowler he is. So I think good. I'm no
yeah,
problems at all with
no,
Stokes here from the bowling.
yeah, he's doing well. And it's sort of backed up by Wopes and Wood bowling quite well
Yeah.
as well. And Wood getting early wickets both games is going to be vital for however long we're in the tournament for.
Yeah, I mean with Wood as well, like I feel as though he's just guaranteed wickets every game, like on
Mhm.
with pace, but like it feels ages since he's not got any wickets in the wickets column, like at least two or three every game. There's another bowler I'm going to talk about in a bit who is struggling on that front.
I've got an
Um,
idea of who that bowler might be.
because I've got a fun stat which might be nice. But yeah, Stokes open bowling is good. Woke's got a bit of tap today, but I think that's sometimes going to happen with Wokes. He's
Yeah,
either going to get a good couple of wickets early on, keep it tight, or he could go to distance because he is kind of a line length bowler in those early stages. If it's not swinging for him, then he's not going to offer potentially as much. But Ireland got off to a great start. They're at 100 odd for one, I'm going to say, off about 12 overs.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they got
And
off to a great
yeah,
start. Yeah.
like even after then, Camphor came in with Balburney. They
Yeah.
were just teeing off.
Yeah. Really, yeah. And it shows you can score well in that pitch. I
Yeah.
mean, England made it look incredibly difficult, but I don't know about England, the pitch conditions, whatnot, or confidence, we'll get on to batting later. But yeah, I
Yeah.
thought they batted really well, but I think England responded well in the second half. But I think Wood was quite honest that, Ireland felt a bit more up for it. And I always feel this with England when it comes to Ireland or Scotland, or not necessarily because Ireland are a full members team, but with England you feel like, oh, we can just be complacent. It's only Ireland. We've
Mhm.
got we've got bigger games. We've got Australia on Friday. We just get the win here. It's fine, no problem. But Ireland, they absolutely pumped West Indies in the first round to eliminate them. They won by, I think it was 9 wickets in the end. So like, you can't just take them lightly. Um,
I mean, they've pumped us in the past as
yeah,
well. Like,
yeah,
like I've got complacency down in my notes as well. It's a weird thing that keeps happening with England
yeah,
against Ireland. And I think especially with the start England have had against Afghanistan, then Ireland, they're not as the same level of quality as Australia or New Zealand. So
sure,
maybe they're taking their foot off the gas and they're going up, or these are just two extra warm-up games, essentially,
yeah.
which you
We
shouldn't be
just have to go
doing.
through the motions. Yeah,
Yeah, which is ridiculous if you're thinking like that.
yeah,
Like, I've got a feeling one batter in particular is using these games is a bit like that. Yeah, we'll get onto the batting league.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Interested about that. But yeah, I get that completely. It's just frustrating to
Mhm.
watch because it feels like like you said, we've been here so many times before. I feel like I've seen this game so many times. Like it feels as though they are just going through the motions because they just expect to win because they're feeling a bit complacent. They'll obviously say no, but I don't know, over the back of your mind, you're just, you're thinking, oh, we've got Australia on Friday, we've got New Zealand next week. Sri Lanka, I think, are probably going to be more of a team that they're going to be concerned about than Ireland. But on Ireland's form, you can't write them off. Any like I'd back them to do well against Australia, considering my Australian comments on our last pod. Um, I was worried yesterday when Glenn Maxwell started smashing all over the place. I was like, oh, what have I done? Um, Need to get out for the 20s though, let's forget. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's always frustrating, but I think England responded well. Wood bowled well at the end as well. Stokes came in the last over, finished the job. Curran bowled really well again, especially at the death. Um, but I think we can go on to my concern bowler. Do you want to take a guess who my concern bowler is?
I think it's Adil Rashid.
You would be right. Ding, 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 ding. Double thumbs up, as is we do on the show. Because I've got a stat which I saw on the cricket verse. Um, so this is from WS Archer on Twitter. So Livingston today, you got a great little free throw. Forgot about Livingston.
Yeah,
Got a nice little 3 wickets. Oh, really well.
he
He
was on
got
a
three
hat trick as
wickets.
well.
Yeah. Oh, you got great.
Yeah.
So Livingston today with 3 wickets is more wickets than Adil Rashid in his last 10 games.
Yeah,
That is a concern. Like he didn't look like taking a wicket. That's my
yeah.
problem. It just feels as though that's kind of slicing it up, bowling it flat. With Rashid, you kind of come to expect the variations, but I wonder if it's something with his shoulder. Um, it's gone a bit too far now. I don't know. It's like he just doesn't have the same, not necessarily spark. I don't really know what the word is, but bit of not even. It just missing something for
Mhm.
me. It feels like he needs a game where he's really in it, or a turning pitch where he can really get something out. But then you say that Livingston, a part-time spinner, got plenty out of the pitch. The other day against Sri Lanka on a bit of a tacky wicket, didn't do great. In Pakistan, he didn't do a
Yeah.
lot. It's a concern, I think, and especially since we rely on the Rashid so heavily. Like Mo's not even bowling in these games. Um, and I think Mo's bowled better in recent times than Rashid has. And I think it's a bit tricky when one of your gun bowlers is not performing to the level that you need them to. I mean, he bowled tidy today. It's like 4 overs, another 24.
Mhm.
It's tidy, holds an end, but your leg spinners in there to take wickets at the end of the day, like Wood's in there to get wickets with pace.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, it's concerning because Rashid's been our main bowler for T20s, the main wicket-taking bowler, especially in the middle overs.
yeah,
For him to suddenly go off a cliff in like recent times, I only looked as far back as when England got into Australia to play against
mm,
Australia in the series, the warm-up game against Pakistan, and these last 2 games. And he's taken 1 wicket, and when he took that wicket, he went for about like 13 and over.
yeah, yeah,
He's just not looked threatening
yeah.
at
I
all,
mean,
and he's been taken around
yeah,
the park of it. It's,
especially on pitches in like Australia as well, when you've got massive outfields where it takes a lot. You saw that a bit of Harry Brook later, like difficulty in trying to clear the field
Mhm.
and trying to clear the boundary because MCG and Perth are big, big grounds. Like it takes a lot for you to really clear the fence. Um, and that's where your leg spin really comes into it. Like that's a real wicket taking option for them trying to hit you out the ground because it's tough. You've got to really smash it. Um, and he's just not looked like even doing that. It's almost like they can just play him off easily. Like, but
Mhm.
even when you're a batter is trying to just get through a bowler they think is going to be tricky, you've still got to try and make it difficult for them. But it just looked easy.
Yeah.
Just that it felt there's nothing in it, and I hope he comes good because obviously it's Rashid and he's done some great stuff for England. But it is concerning about the lack of
Mhm.
zip. I'm going to call it zip. He
Cool.
has had in recent times. I think it's a concern. But we'll see. I thought, yeah, that's at the stage. bowled pretty well. But it was that first 10 overs that you could argue potentially had a big hand in losing the game overall, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he got a really good run out, to be fair, off his
Yeah, yeah,
own
yeah. Which I was
bowling.
happy about
So
my fantasy team. He did really well there, and that's great. That helped a
yeah,
lot. um, but yeah, it's is what it is. I think 150 odd. I think you would take as a bowling unit. I think it's all right. Um, and I'd usually back in to chase that. So I guess unless you've got anything else in the bowling or Ireland's batting.
no, not really. Like we need to give credit to Ireland for how
Oh,
well
massively, yeah, yeah.
they
Especially
batted. Like
yeah,
Balburney, Tucker, Camper, like they ended up getting all out.
yeah.
But the start of their innings was fantastic.
Brilliant. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think that was a great kind of showcase of T20 cricket, that innings from Ireland being so on top in the first 10 and England in the second 10. It's just a real kind of even contest. I mean, but Ireland played really well throughout the whole game. They played
Yeah.
apart from that last 7, 8 overs of their innings. Thorough winners of the game. So I guess batting wise and bowling wise, first of all, but Ireland bowled really, really well.
Yeah.
Um, throughout really. They never really gave anything away, and were always kind of looking at getting wickets. And there's kind of a lot of bounce, a lot of the deliveries that Milan faced. Milan's a good player in Australia. You've seen a couple of Ashes series, but he couldn't quite get to grips with the bounce and quite
Yeah.
the big lift that the bowlers were getting. So that looked like concern throughout. The ball that got Stokes was a peach.
Yeah.
Like it did a lot off the surface and through the air, which is like I think if think of like kind of bowlers that do that kind of thing. Obviously, Jimmy's one, but got to look like people like especially people in Australia, like people like Ryan Harris as well as kind of one who was really good at that. Hazelwood is similar, but getting it moving, I think a lot of that kind of delivery to Cook in the 2013-14 Ashes, I think where he gets Cook
Yeah.
first ball and it comes back and it's very similar to that. Um, yeah, I mean Stokes could get a little bit more forward to that, I guess, but I think when you're just hitting through the line for a white ball player, I don't think he did much wrong in that. I'm going to say. I think out of all the wickets, I would be more acceptable of Stokes. Um, but yeah, otherwise, bowling wise, really, really good. I think it was. Did Little get 2 wickets? I believe it was. Have you got the stats up
I,
on your notes?
hold on. I have it on the Ireland innings to look at Rashid's poor bowling.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Josh Little got two
yeah.
for 16. Um, Dockrell, who's been around, feels like for ages, always consistent. Got 1 for 5 of his. Fionn Hand got 1 for 17, I think. He was one of Old
Mhm.
Stokes, and I think it's only his third or fourth T20 game. Something ridiculous like that. Pretty good scalp to have.
Having a bit of a
Um,
Jofra moment.
yeah, so Mark Adair was really tight as well. Barry McCarthy, 1 for 20. Just everyone
Mhm.
contributed. Apart, I mean, you can say Delaney's frequent free overs number 33, but that was a lot of the last over when Mo hit him for a couple of boundaries. So that's obviously
Yeah.
change figures up. But all of them really contributed at vital times that not one of them really took their foot off the gas. You want to just use a bog standard analogy, but like they all were constantly like there was no respite for a batter. Next bowler on was hitting the same line lengths every time. You could just see it at kind of Milan and Brook. They just could not get away. Um, like they were building a little partnership, but they were only kind of accumulating singles, that kind of stuff. So yeah, credit to Ireland bowlers. Um, but England batters poor. um,
Ah,
I don't think I'm not going to label them the same rubbish as Australia were the other day, um, because I'm fairly confident-ish that if this game had gone the full 20, that England would have got close, if not won it. Um, I'm quite surprised that Livingston came down at I think it was 8 at the end, 7 or 8.
I think
Because he came in
seven.
after
Yeah.
Mo 7.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to come in before Brook, especially considering it was no surprise that rain was coming. It
Mm.
was being reported all day that there's going to be rain at some point. It's raining all around Melbourne. We are going to get affected by rain at some point. England need to be ahead of the Duckworth
Mhm.
Lewis. So it was to me just really surprising that there was no kind of I don't know understanding or intensity to
Yeah.
try and
Yeah.
match that. Like it was, we were lucky to I think to get 35 overs of it in the end.
I mean, we've seen in the past as well when England have been chasing a relatively low score, they'll
Mm,
put Milan back in the order a bit
yeah,
to promote Stokes or Mo, or they would have done with Livingston today,
yeah,
but they just did sort of the usual batting order when they knew you needed to push on a bit to get a game and get a result. But
yeah, definitely. Because I think it's only a couple of games ago, wasn't it? I think in Australia when I think we were batting first, so we got maybe over 200 or something. Then I think Milan came in at like eight, and they just
yeah,
boomed everyone else up, and they were just trying to get as many runs as they could. So I was really surprised that Livingston came in so low. Um, and then I was just I was surprised when Brook came out because Brook's being in good form, but at that stage we just really need to get some momentum shift
mhm,
back. I felt that's the time where you can send in Livingston. So I could understand Mo coming in. That makes complete sense to me. But yeah, I probably would have switched around Livingston and Brook. But yeah, just the lack of intensity was just
yeah.
bizarre. Butler, I think, was trying to show that first over, nicked off. I think Hales probably would have done the more he'd stayed in. But yeah, Butler's was a loose shot, I think. But one of those days is going to be smashed for four. I mean, that's the kind of pass and parcel of a T20 opener. Milan was a struggle. Didn't you say that you had someone you wanted to talk about that you thought someone was having a net session?
Yeah, not necessarily a net session, but I think Hales has been using
Mm,
these first two games to sort of either work out the pitches or just find a bit of nick
yeah,
in Australia. Because the way he got out today, it was just a massive bit of a slog that felt like he was
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
force runs to come. Because again, in the last game, he didn't really find any sort of rhythm.
No, no.
Whereas it might have been the wrong decision to put Harry Brook in when he did. But I thought he
Mm.
looked in decent touch when he was
Yeah, he looked
batting.
all right. Yeah, for sure.
Whereas Hales has just looked a bit sticky and just not been finding the middle of the bat a lot of the time,
No fluency. Yeah,
which
it's
I can tell as soon as I take him out of my fantasy team, he's going to flow
he'll get
runs.
100 against Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of works into the complacency of these opening two games as well. Like, is Hales thinking, well, I've got other talent around me, so it's okay if I sort of use these as a bit of a warm up as well, and then kick
Yeah,
on when I have to play against Australia, New Zealand, Sri Lanka.
yeah. No, yeah, I think I agree. I think the pitch has come into it a little bit because it did move a
Mhm.
lot, especially in the England innings. And I think you can kind of understand Milan's innings in particular that he wants to try and just back through and be there at
Yeah.
the end. If he was still going to be sent in at three, that was going to be his job because
Mhm.
I feel like almost like the root anchor role, I would
Mhm.
say in there, like he's going to bat through, everyone can kind of bat around him. But when no one else is taking risks around him, I
Yeah.
think it's just quite surprising to me.
And like
Because
you said earlier with Brook, like some of them are trying to clear the boundary for six
yeah,
when it's just not really on.
no,
When if Hales gets over the shot, he goes out for try and get to four instead of a six. Like
yeah,
take that instead. Because there
yeah.
were a couple of drop catches from Milan and Brook.
I think there's two in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
I
think
think it
like
was.
Brook got dropped and then Milan got dropped the next ball. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rook got caught in the same over. So that was a fun.
Yeah. It was a wild over. But like
Yeah,
you try and keep those down instead of try and hit them out park because you're just not going to really.
yeah. And it's such a massive outfield as well. Like so many twos are on as well.
Yeah.
And it just felt like it's singles every time. And it didn't feel like until it was Mo who came in, who just seemed to middle everything straight away.
Mm.
Like I don't know whether it's just a form thing or a confidence thing, skill thing. Like Brook is still in the early days of his career and he played nicely today, but that kind of thing is not going to kind of win you a game. It's not going to get you ahead of the game. You're still going to have to play massive catch up. And I think Livo and Mo probably would, like I said, would have got close.
Mhm.
Um, but when you know there's rain around, you can't just stick to that
Yeah.
same plan. You've got to know that there's another factor you've got to stay in ahead of the game here. Just try and win. Like I think this England team smash around teams for fun. So like I don't understand the let's just take it deep. You can't take it deep because there's rain. Like it's just bizarre. It was really bizarre. I just could not understand it. I mean, I know Ireland bowled well, but it just felt to me that there was never really any showcase of England trying to do something different, take the game to the bowlers. It was almost like, are you bowling well? Okay, we'll just knock it. It's just
It
like,
feels a bit too tactical. They've been
yeah,
chasing both games But when you have, if England were batting first innings, you could tell they'd be going for 200. They
Yeah,
should be batting with that same sort of
I think
intensity
so.
and
Yeah,
intent in the second innings. Do forget chasing,
yeah,
just go out and bat as if you're playing in the first innings.
yeah. It just feels defensive, doesn't it? It just feels like we've got this game plan to win, and that's how we'll do it. And I think they've had similar performances in Pakistan, especially by taking the game deep. Um, and I think Australia did something similar yesterday with especially with Stoinis and Sri Lanka. Like that could have gone either way yesterday, and then suddenly Stoinis hits a few, and suddenly Australia have done it. So you could very much argue that Mo had already got over 10 of this over. If it hit a couple more away, then that's in way ahead, way ahead. Um, but yeah, you just got to go earlier. Like I can understand that game plan if you know there's going to be no interruptions, but everyone was reporting on it for the last like all the game. It was getting boring, and it's like just go for it. But oh well, is what it is. Um, so in terms of what this means going forward, it means that England play Australia on Friday in what will now potentially be a knockout game, unless results really go either way for both teams. Um, does this change anything for you, Jamie?
A little bit. Like
Oh,
I'm, it's I'm in the strange position where I'm not particularly worried about Australia, but I
mm,
am worried about England.
yeah,
The
because
way
it's
the way they've
yeah,
batted has just been a bit lackluster.
yeah,
And obviously we've mentioned Rashid being our primary wicket taking
yeah,
bowler in the past, not performing. So and I can feel like we'd have won that series 3-0 if it wasn't for rain against
yeah.
Australia. I
We
can
were about three or four
absolutely
balls
yeah.
away from doing that.
And now I can absolutely see Australia beating England
Yeah,
in an awful game.
I know. Yeah, I would agree to be honest. I kind of feel as though it's heading that way. Like Australia on the brink of going out if they'd lost Sri Lanka and we'd won today, then suddenly still clinging on by the skin of
Yeah.
it. It just feels like this feels scripted. No, I feel like we are heading that way. I think I still would still back England to win. I think England still got the better team, and England always feels like they play better against what they deem to be better teams. Facing the likes of Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood, as opposed to someone like Josh Little, who they wouldn't face as much. I think they really, yeah, more onto that. I don't know. I would still back England, but I think I also agree that I don't think Australia are good, but I don't have any confidence in England. And that's a silly thing about T20. Like the other day, it'd be like, oh, England qualify. And then it's like, yeah, one game later, it's like, oh. But yeah, I think it's also got to try and factor in the rain and the factor like how much of a difference does that make? And again, how close to England have got to be a full game, and is this probably the big, kick up the backside that they need going forward? Um, so your prediction then, are you going to say Australia win?
I'm going to say an England win because I can't say an Australia win.
Just not Australia win.
I'm just not saying it with confidence.
Okay, right. So we're both going to go England win, and it's going to be no doubt. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
any changes to that game, or stick with the same team?
I'd be tempted to take Rashid out, to be honest. Either put in an extra batsman and use Mo and Livingston as just bin options, or
Right.
put in an extra seamer. I don't. I think.
Yeah, because the only other batter they've got, I think, is Phil Salt. I think that's the only other
Yeah.
batter they have. Otherwise, another bowler. They've not got any other spinners. Liam Dawson's in the reserves. He's not in the official squad. So you'd be bringing in either Willie, Jordan, or Mills, I believe.
I'd be okay with bringing in Salt, to be honest. Especially seeing as the top order hasn't really clicked yet. We can bring Salt in either at 3 or bring him down the order a bit. We've still
Yeah,
got the spin options, which are or have been a bit more threatening
yeah,
so far. I think that's the only place I'd change because otherwise it seems like a solid, settled team.
yeah. I would stick same team. I think it's the best team that we have in the squad. If we had maybe another spinner in, like
Mhm.
Parkinson, maybe I'd look at bringing someone in, or maybe a Middlesbrough Willie, but I think you've got enough variation in the attack anyway with Wokes,
Yeah.
Wood, Rashid, Stokes. I think that's good enough anyway. So I'll stick the same, and I'd expect Australia would stick to the same as well, other than Zampa if he's recovered from COVID, who's coming in for Ashton Agar.
I don't think it
Um,
matters if he recovers from COVID, really. It's fine. They were gonna play him
they were going
with
to play him
COVID
anyway, weren't
anyway.
they? Yeah,
Like, it doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
He might still have
Oh
COVID. He'll
gosh,
play. Who cares?
yeah, no, it's
It,
negative. Wink, wink.
it's only
Um,
shut down the whole world.
doesn't matter. Right, so we look forward to that. We'll obviously have another reaction to that game. So thank you for watching this one and the previous one. I guess very quickly because we missed it because we didn't cover it, but the whole world wants to talk about it. Do you have any quick thoughts on the India-Pakistan game,
Not
which has been
particularly,
no?
because I rage quit when Rahul got out because he was in my fantasy team.
Oh man,
And so I missed what apparently was one of the best T20 innings of recent times in
yeah,
but
it was probably one of the best games I've watched in ages. It was madness. The last over went like felt like it went on for years. It was absolute chaos. There was waist high no balls, free hits, runs being taken off when the ball hit the stumps from Kohli being bowled off a free hit. Ashwin just casually hitting the last ball over mid off for four. It was drama. It was Pakistan should have won. That's fundamentally a fact. I think if the last over had not conceded so many extras, they would have, I think, easily done it. They kept Kohli off strike the last over. And I think Pakistan played really well to recover to get to a really competitive score. They had India about 30 odd for four.
yeah.
And then Hardik and Kohli put on a really great partnership. But I mean, Hardik really felt like he hit the ball off the square, which I think is a kind of a running theme of this World Cup. I think you said in the last episode that um, you didn't think that scores over 150 were going to be that much. It's going to be a bit more tacky wickets, not really free hitting. And it turns out you were potentially correct. Um, but yeah, Kohli's innings, man, was good. It was good. It was like it felt like this is like Kohli of old and real kind of Kohli of the old age. It was just like he hit 1-6 towards the end, back over long on, and it was like one of the best shots I think I've ever seen. It was nonsense. I think Ian Smith said that that shot is going to live with him the rest of his life. It was just nonsense. There's so many pictures of like Kohli, and you've got all the crowd. It's like 90 odd, 90. I think it's pretty much a full house. I think it's like 93, 94,000
Yeah.
people, and the noise was just mental. Um, but yeah, I didn't want to buy into the hype, but I bought into the hype. And it was a great game. I loved it. It was fantastic. It was great to see like so many Pakistan and Indian fans together, and for just what was a really good showcase of cricket and T20 cricket. Um, but yeah, good game, a good game. But we much prefer talking about a game affected by rain. Yay, Duckworth
Uh,
Lewis. So yeah, do you have any T20 World Cup final thoughts from you?
uh, I just, if anyone from the official fantasy cricket is watching,
Yeah.
I think you should give everyone their subs back for the abandoned game of
I
New
was so
Zealand,
close to
Afghanistan.
not to just not doing any transfers just in case, but I thought, oh god, just in case.
I mean, for the last was the South Africa Bangladesh day. It was rain affected. I only did
Yeah,
2 subs each game because I saw the rain.
yeah,
Like I had to go today before putting this up before they like had the deadline for the
yeah.
subs at 9 o'clock. So I made my subs. I
Devastating.
whatever.
Whatever. What a good way to end, I reckon. What Cricket World Cup. Whatever. But yeah, we'll be back Friday or Saturday, one of the two, with our reaction
Friday.
to so it's on Friday. If we get a chance to record it, hooray. If not, I'm sure it'll be Saturday or whatever. But whatever. England to win or not. Let's go. Bye.